My girlfriend hid stolen makeup in my coat, then screamed I was a thief when the alarm went off. I asked security to check the cameras, and she spent the night in a holding cell while I went home. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy who learned something life-changing under fluorescent lights and a discount fragrance display. But here we are. It happened on a Sunday, one of those gray, nothing days where the world feels half asleep. We were at a mid-range department store because Maya wanted just a few things, which, in Maya speak, always meant not a few things at all. I didn't mind. I wasn't in a hurry. I was just tired. We'd been together a year and a half, long enough to know each other's morning moods, short enough that we still pretended some things didn't bother us. She could be intense, sharp when insecure, charming when she wanted something. I'd always chalked it up to anxiety, not malice. That day, she seemed jittery. Not the usual too much cold brew jittery, something else. She kept checking her reflection in every surface, polishing lip gloss, asking if I thought she looked expensive enough. I remember laughing lightly and saying, "You look like yourself. That's enough." She didn't smile back. We walked through the cosmetics section. She picked up products, turning them over like she was inspecting diamonds. She'd been talking nonstop for a week about how all her coworkers were leveling up, their words, apparently, and she felt like she was falling behind. It was one of those conversations where no matter what reassurance I offered, there was a trap in it. If I said she was already beautiful, I was invalidating her feelings. If I suggested budgeting, I was controlling. So that day, I tried neutrality, just existing beside her, holding her coat over my arm, letting her browse in silence. At one point, she slipped her arm through mine and said, almost too casually, "You'd still love me if I wasn't successful, right?" I frowned. What does success have to do with us? She didn't answer, just hummed and wandered off again. Looking back, that was the first real crack. We eventually headed toward the exit, stopped only because she wanted to check a perfume sample. I waited, coat still over my arm, scrolling through my phone, half thinking about lunch. Then the alarm went off. You know that sound. The sharp, accusing blare that freezes everyone in a 10-foot radius. People turned. My stomach dropped, even though I knew I hadn't touched anything. A security guard approached. "Sir, do you mind stepping aside for a moment?" And then Maya, my girlfriend, took 3 dramatic steps backward, eyes wide, and yelled, "Oh my God, I can't believe you stole that." She said it like a punchline, like it was somehow funny. Everyone stared at me. I felt heat rush up my neck. Not shame, just shock. The guard asked me to remove my coat. I slipped it off, and he reached into the pocket. Out came a small boxed makeup compact, tag still on it. I stared at it like it was a live grenade. Maya clapped a hand over her mouth and gasped. "I told him not to," she said to the guard. "He joked about taking it earlier." I thought he was kidding. My brain short-circuited, not because of the accusation, but because of how smoothly she did it. No hesitation, no panic, just performance. It was like watching a stranger wearing her skin. I could have argued. I could have defended myself. Instead, something in me switched off. I looked at the guard and said calmly, "Can you check the cameras? Specifically the cosmetics aisle, angle facing the east display." The guard blinked, thrown off by how specific I was. Maya's face twitched. "Why do you need cameras?" she snapped. "They found it on you." But her voice had that slight pitch to it, the one she got when she was cornered. The guard called for a supervisor. Within minutes, we were taken to a small office in the back. Fluorescent lights, beige walls, a desk with fingerprint smudges. I sat down. Maya paced. She kept whispering to me, "Just say you didn't mean to take it. It'll be a fine, not a charge." Her tone wasn't worried about me. It was irritated that I wasn't playing along. Then the supervisor came in and pulled up the footage. There it was, clear as daylight. Maya glancing around. Maya picking up the compact. Maya subtly slipping it into the pocket of the coat I was holding. Maya walking away. No confusion. No mistake. No misunderstanding. The supervisor looked at me, then at her. Maya froze, expression collapsing in on itself. I was just joking," she stammered. "It was a prank. He's always so serious," I thought. "No," I said quietly. "You didn't think." The room felt impossibly small. Security asked me to step outside while they spoke to her alone. I handed them my ID, answered a few questions, and waited in the hallway. 5 minutes later, I heard her voice through the door, not scared, but angry. "You're really going to do this to me? You're not even defending me." And that was the moment something inside me just went still. Not broken, just done. When the door opened again, one of the guards said, "You're free to go, sir." I nodded, walked out of the store, and stood in the cold air, breathing like someone who'd just surfaced from underwater. I didn't wait for her. I didn't text her. I didn't look back. I just went home. She didn't that I got home before the numbness even wore off. I remember dropping my keys in the bowl by the door like it was any other Sunday, then just standing in the hallway staring at nothing. My coat still smelled like her perfume, vanilla and something sugary. And for a second, the weight of how fast everything shifted hit me like a punch. 15 minutes earlier, she was my girlfriend. Now I was realizing I'd probably never speak to her again. My phone started buzzing before I even sat down. At first it was texts. "Maya, they're overreacting. Come back. Maya, you need to tell them it was a misunderstanding. Maya, answer your phone." Then calls, 3 in a row. I didn't pick up. I wasn't angry. I was stunned. Like my brain hadn't fully caught up. Why would someone I loved, someone I took care of, set me up like that? For what? Attention? A joke? Punishment? I tried replaying the moment in my head, but all I could see was the way her expression changed when the camera footage appeared. Not fear, not remorse, just calculation. A quiet, desperate "oh no." I lost control of the narrative. 30 minutes later, an unknown number called. I answered, half expecting it to be the store or the police, but it was her mother. She sounded exhausted. "Daniel?" "Hi." Maya called, and she's very upset. She says you abandoned her. "I didn't abandon her," I said calmly. "She planted stolen merchandise on me and publicly accused me." Silence. Then her mother exhaled slowly, as if this wasn't the first time she'd heard something like it. "Oh," she said in a small voice. "I see." That was maybe the saddest part. Not shock, not disbelief, just resignation. "She's in a holding cell," her mother continued. "They're processing her now. They said she may be released tonight or tomorrow, depending on backlog." I sat down on the edge of the couch. Holding cell. Not theoretical, not dramatic. Real. Her mother hesitated before adding. "She told the officers you pressured her." That she panicked. My stomach dropped, not in fear, but clarity. "Of course she did. When the footage is reviewed," I said, keeping my voice level, "they'll see otherwise." Another long pause. Then her mother said quietly, "I'm sorry. No excuses. No defending. Just that." After we hung up, I sat in silence, thinking about the past year and a half like it was being played on fast forward. All the small things I'd brushed off. The time she flirted with a bartender and told me I was insecure when I said it bothered me. The time she cried for hours because I didn't post her picture fast enough. The time she made up a story about a coworker insulting her. And when I offered to help, she admitted she just wanted to see how much I cared. I should have seen it. But loving someone makes you blind in strange ways. You explain things to yourself. She's been hurt before. She just needs reassurance. Everyone has flaws. But planting stolen makeup on me, that wasn't insecurity. That was cruelty. Around 7 p.m., her dad called. He didn't ask what happened. He just said, "Tell me the truth, please." So I did. Everything. He listened without interrupting, then sighed. A deep, tired sound that felt like the closing of a book. "She did something similar when she was 16, he said quietly. "Not theft, but she lied about someone to get out of trouble. We thought she grew out of it." He cleared his throat. "They're releasing her in the morning. I'll pick her up. She won't be returning to your place." It wasn't a question. I just said, "Thank you." Before he hung up, he added, "You don't deserve this. Don't let her drag you into her chaos." After the call, I finally allowed myself to feel something. Not heartbreak, not rage, just relief. Like I'd been holding my breath for a year and a half without noticing, and finally exhaled. Around midnight, my phone lit up again. This time it was a text from Maya. "Maya, you ruined my life." Then, "Maya, if you loved me, you would have protected me." Then, "Maya, I can't believe you left me there alone." I stared at the screen for a long time, not because I was tempted to reply, but because the messages made one thing painfully clear. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she didn't get away with it. I turned off my phone, went to bed, and for the first time in months, I slept through the night. Update. It's been 6 weeks. Long enough for everything to feel both distant and strangely sharp, like a cut that finally stopped bleeding but still stings when you touch it. I didn't plan to post an update, but a lot has happened, and some of it still doesn't feel real. The morning after she was released, her dad texted me. "She's home. Don't respond to her if she contacts you." I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. By noon, I had 17 missed calls, 9 voicemails, paragraphs of texts alternating between apologies, rage, denial, and love bombing. But the message that stood out was this one. "Maya, you know I only did that because I thought you were pulling away." That was the moment any remaining guilt evaporated. Trying to frame her choice as my fault. That was the real Maya, not the crying version, not the sweet one, the one who believed consequences were optional if she was upset enough. I didn't reply. 2 days later, she showed up at my building. She buzzed my apartment over and over, but I didn't let her in. I sat on the couch, heart pounding, listening to the intercom crackle as she cycled through emotions like she was spinning a wheel. "Please, just talk to me. You're abandoning me. I can change. You think you're better than me? You ruined everything. I love you, please." She stayed for almost an hour. Eventually, my neighbor poked his head out into the hallway, and she left, fast, like she'd suddenly remembered she could be seen. After that, her parents stepped in. Her mom called to apologize again, really apologize this time. Not for Maya, but to me. She said something that stuck with me. "You weren't dating our daughter. You were managing her." There was heartbreak in her voice, not bitterness. It made me sad in a completely different way. Not for myself, but for them. For what it must be like to love someone you can't trust. A week later, the store called. The charges weren't going forward. They cited first offense and cooperation, but I knew the real reason. Her parents hired a lawyer before she was even released. Their tone was polite but final. No further action needed. No record. Case closed. When I hung up, I felt a complicated mix of relief and disappointment. Not because I wanted her punished, but because it meant she'd walk away thinking life resets for her whenever someone else cleans the mess. 3 days after that, I got a message from an unknown number. It wasn't Maya. It was her coworker Jenna, someone I'd barely spoken to. She wrote, "Just so you know, she told everyone at work you tried to steal and she saved you." People believed her until the truth got out. She's embarrassed and furious. Stay far away. I sat with that for a while. The fact she still needed a version where she was the victim, even after being caught on camera. That told me everything I ever needed to know about the future we would have had. The next part is the one that surprised me. About 2 weeks ago, her dad reached out again. He asked if we could meet, not to talk about getting back together or fixing anything, but to give closure on his side. I agreed, mostly out of respect. We met at a coffee shop. He looked 10 years older. He told me Maya was starting therapy, not voluntarily, but because they told her she couldn't live with them unless she did. He said she oscillated between blaming me and blaming the store, but occasionally had moments of clarity. Then he said something I'll never forget. Leaving her was the kindest thing you could have done. If you stayed, she never would have faced herself. I didn't have an answer. We didn't talk long. When we stood to leave, he shook my hand and said, "Build a life with someone who doesn't need to break you to feel whole." I've been thinking about that sentence ever since. As for me, I'm okay. Really okay. My world is quieter now. No walking on eggshells, no decoding moods, no emergencies disguised as emotions. I deleted every picture, blocked every number connected to her, got my coat back dry cleaned because I couldn't stand the smell of it. I haven't started dating again. Not because I'm afraid, but because peace feels like a relationship all by itself. If anything else happens, I'll update. But honestly, for the first time in a long time, I hope this is the end of the story. Final update that it's been a little over 6 months. Long enough that the whole thing doesn't feel like it happened yesterday, but not long enough that it feels like another lifetime. I didn't post because nothing dramatic happened, and I think that's the point. There was no big confrontation, no tearful reunion, no Hollywood closure. Just the slow, uncomfortable process of getting my life back. For the first 2 months, I half expected her to show up again, or for some new fallout to appear. That's what being with someone unpredictable does to you. Even when they're gone, your nervous system keeps waiting for impact. But the silence stayed. The only update I got came from her mother, who emailed me once, not asking anything, just letting me know Maya was still in therapy and working through a lot more than she ever admitted. She didn't give details, and I didn't ask. I realized I didn't need to know who she was becoming. It wasn't my job anymore. Around month 3, I started noticing how quiet the inside of my head had become. I didn't realize how much energy I spent managing someone else's emotions until I stopped doing it. It was like stepping out of a loud room and finally noticing the ringing in your ears. I started small, going to the gym again, cooking for myself instead of ordering takeout, fixing the loose cabinet door I'd ignored for months, actually sleeping, like deep, uninterrupted sleep. It's strange how ordinary things can feel like recovery. The only real surprise came in the 4th month. I was at a grocery store, waiting in line, when an employee tapped my shoulder. "You're Daniel, right?" I nodded, unsure. She lowered her voice and said, "I was working the day it happened. I just wanted to say, I'm glad you stood up for yourself. Most people don't." It was such a simple sentence, but it landed hard. Because for a long time, I thought what I did was just leave. But no, what I actually did was choose myself. And that's a muscle I didn't know I had. I didn't think about relationships for a while. I didn't trust my own judgment, not fully. When friends asked if I was ready to date again, I told them I wasn't interested. Not in dating, not in avoiding dating, just not forcing anything. Then, about a month ago, something shifted. I met someone, not through an app, not through a setup, just a normal, accidental intersection of two lives. We've only gone out a few times. Nothing intense, no rushing, no ultimatums disguised as romance. She laughs easily, listens without turning everything into a competition. And when I told her I wanted to move slowly, she just nodded and said, "Yeah, me too. I don't know where it's going." And for the first time in a long time, that uncertainty doesn't scare me. As for Maya, I haven't heard from her. No apology, no dramatic message, no attempt at rewriting history. Just absence. Sometimes absence is the closest thing to closure you get. I used to think closure meant understanding everything. Why she did it, what she wanted, what I could have done differently. But the truth is simpler. Some people don't break your heart. They break your sense of reality. And healing isn't about getting answers. It's about learning to stop needing them. So this is the last update. Nothing explosive, nothing cinematic, just a quiet truth. I'm okay now. Not magically healed, not invincible, just okay. I don't flinch when my phone buzzes. I don't walk on mental eggshells. I don't confuse chaos with passion anymore. And I've learned something I should have known years ago. Love without safety isn't love. It's survival. If someone ever makes you choose between your dignity and staying with them, choose yourself. It won't feel good at first. But one day you'll wake up, make coffee, stand in your own kitchen, and realize that was the day your life actually started.